Cops under fire. Being a police officer in America has always been a dangerous job, but almost nothing like we are seeing right now. Not in 50 years has it been open season on law enforcement. It's what we're seeing, and the horrible aftermath. These beautiful police officers cut down in the prime of their lives, and none of this really should be happening, of course. It started, believe it or not, Barack Obama. He had a hand in all of this, creating a horrible wedge between white America and black America when he was the one who was supposed to make everything better. Instead, he decided to make everything worse. And then the left, they went into overdrive with their anti-police racist rhetoric to gin up emotions to get Trump, anything to stop Donald Trump. Law and order, they're good things, and we don't have them right now. Take a look at Wawa. You know about Wawa? It's like a convenience store in Pennsylvania and parts of New Jersey. Every state has a version of this. Wawa happens to be very, very beautiful. I've been there several times. Sometimes you can get sushi in there, gourmet sandwiches, or chewing tobacco. Take your pick. But in Philadelphia, this was the scene just a couple of days ago. Take a look at Wawa, Philly.
All stupid. For real. Y'all all ugly, stupid, broke.
Well, there's a lot of stealing, pandemonium, vandalism, you name it, it's happening. You know, I heard somebody say, oh, this doesn't look so bad compared to some of the other videos I've seen. Well, let's take a look at the aftermath. This is what happens when you have absolutely no respect for law enforcement. And where and how could that have happened? Oh, by the way, outside the Wawa, things were not exactly peaceful. Now, there is one small bright spot in this story. I saw the steely nerves of one of the customers who, despite everything, wants to get her sandwich.
I'm walking out of here, bro.
Are y'all making a sandwich or y'all gonna keep recording?
It's going to be a little while.
It's going to be a while as my livelihood apparently is being destroyed all around me. But again, she kind of can tune all that out and get her sandwich. Now, how has this come about? I mean, we see this stuff all the time now. If you have a phone, it's interesting, but it's not shocking, right? It's sad. It's sad. How did it start? How did it get confirmed? How does it happen all over again? Well, I think Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Mitt Romney, Chuck Schumer, and the rest, their overreaction and political exploitation of the George Floyd matter, that led to so much of this, and the violence that they refused to condemn. They burned down a police station during Black Lives Matter in the aftermath of George Floyd, and it was celebrated as some sort of glorious social and racial justice event. And the exploitation continues. Oh gosh, at the White House, having the family of George Floyd, and let's face it, George Floyd, he had big problems. George Floyd should not have died that day in that way, but should George Floyd, the name, be a household word? Should the family be welcome to the White House? And I don't know about that. I don't know, because this has led to essentially the delegitimization of law enforcement. There are people all over the country, as soon as they see cops, they see Derek Chauvin. And I believe this is a result. This has fueled the rampant crime we see everywhere. And you know what? In a surprising moment of candor for none other than Jen Psaki, remember her? Jen Circleback Psaki? She no longer stands at that podium. She is a civilian. She works over at MSNBC and NBC, and she speaks her mind now, although I think they're going to have a talk with her after yesterday's performance. But she did say this.
I think that Democrats, if the election is about who is the most extreme, as we saw, Kevin McCarthy touch on there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll say her name, sitting over his left side, then they're going to win. If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that. They also know that crime is a huge vulnerability for Democrats. I would say one of the biggest vulnerabilities.
Fascinating that she is acknowledging that now that she's out of the White House. At the White House, they don't like to hear the truth. And oh, by the way, if they lie about Republicans, MAGA, and call them extremists, that's their goal, to portray them falsely as extremists. So, some things to keep an eye on. John Fetterman, the Democrat candidate for Senate in Pennsylvania. I want to choose my words carefully here about John Fetterman. I think he's a maniac. I really do. He's on the side of the criminals. He really, really is. So a while ago, he gets himself elected of a very small town named Braddock, okay? But he insists on calling it something different or spelling it differently. Braddock with the two C's. You get it? Well, why? Why would he do that? Because it's a gang thing. Because the Crips like it. You know, the blood in the Crips? Yeah. Mr. Fetterman refers to the town as Braddock, or the OCC. That is the underground spelling for the borough, which he said acknowledges an allegiance that many of the younger residents there have with the Crips gang. Yeah, you know, that murderous gang? Internationally famous for settling scores over drugs with murder. Yeah, let's pay them all the respect they deserve, huh, John? By the way, I think he was doing that with his tattoos. So he's all tatted up, right? And every tattoo has a story, I guess. One on his right forearm that he covers up. It used to say, "I will make you hurt." That's what's covered up on his forearm there. "I will make you hurt." Maybe he wants to be in a gang. This is nobody who should be in the United States Senate. Certainly not now when our law enforcement needs us, and his Democrat allies are just pretending to like cops. And here's how they do it.
President Biden, for example, the top of that party there was never for defunding the police, right? And what he has said and continues to say is that they need to have more funding. Police do.
There are some on the other side who falsely accuse Democrats for wanting to defund the police. The record is clear. We are funding the police, and we should.
The president has talked about wanting to fund police, if you will, not defund police.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police.
You know, they rewrote their talking points in about 20 minutes. That does not erase all of their harmful rhetoric and specific policy calls over the previous 2 years. And yes, they were for defunding the police, for directing funding for the police away from the police to social agencies. But these pictures, this is even worse than their defunding nonsense. What they did, they delegitimized police in the eyes of the community. It's extremely difficult to maintain a semblance of law and order when so many in the community don't accept your authority. And we see it all the time. Big crime, small crime. Hey, you saw the Wawa. What about this 7-Eleven in Los Angeles? This is a complete breakdown of law and order. This is not during the middle of Black Lives Matter. You know, this is a Wednesday night in Los Angeles, and everybody is going totally crazy. And the Democrats, Joe Biden, mainstream media for this silly conversation you're having about race. And in the middle of it all, cops, they're paying the price as you guys play your silly political games. And Joe, your rhetoric is going to get people killed. It probably has already.
So how extreme are these MAGA Republicans? Just take a look what happened since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. In red states after red state, there's a race to pass the most restrictive abortion limitations imaginable, even without exception, for rape or incest. If the MAGA Republicans win control of the Congress, it won't matter where you live. Women won't have the right to choose anywhere.
You see how he's stirring up hate and division? I mean, he's banking on it. It's like he's telling ghost stories, portraying MAGA as extremists. This is dangerous, and I think it has already led to carnage. And how about when they dispatched the SWAT team from the FBI to make misdemeanor or low-level felony arrests? This is happening, and it's totally crazy. Have you heard about this Mark Houck? Mark Houck is a guy from Pennsylvania. He has 7 kids. He's a pro-life activist. And what he does sometimes, folks, is he'll be outside of an abortion clinic, and he may counsel people, hey, you may want to think about adoption. Here's some literature. There's a pro-life center over here. Can I tell you a story? That kind of thing. Well, he's accused of blocking entrance to a clinic. Apparently, he got into a pushing match with somebody who might have been using profanity in front of his children. Some guy got pushed. And what did they do? They called the SWAT team. The SWAT team came in. The FBI SWAT team came in to arrest this guy over a pushing match. And reports indicate that the local authorities didn't even think it rose to the level of making an arrest. A couple of people got pushed and but this is how they roll now, the federal government. Remember Roger Stone? Roger Stone, he would get in Twitter wars with journalists. So what? They sent the FBI to raid his home. How about Jeff Clark, the assistant attorney general, one of them under Trump? They handcuffed the guy, made him stand in his underwear in his driveway while they searched the house. Paul Manafort throwing that guy into solitary confinement. Democrats love using heavy weapons. Oh boy. Remember Elian Gonzalez? The Elian Gonzalez case. Remember how they got that kid out of that house in Florida all those years ago? You think this might have been overdone? That's the way they roll. And ultimately, look, it puts people at risk. It puts civilians, cops at risk. I really like that Josh Hawley. He has put the Attorney General on notice yet again. These letters come and go, but this one I think will make a real difference. He said, look, you are failing magnificently at your job. And he wants answers. Like, number one, this situation with Houck. Let's see here. Why were 20 to 25 armed FBI agents sent to Mark Houck's home to execute an arrest for a simple assault, alleged assault, I might add? Why did those agents have their guns drawn? This Mark Houck had no criminal record. And number 3, great question here. Since May 3rd, 2022, how many charges has your department brought against pro-abortion extremists who have attacked pregnancy resource centers, churches, and pro-life Americans? Great question. This overuse, misuse of the police and the delegitimization. Look, we support law enforcement, whether they're federal agents or cops on the street, but the dialogue, the rhetoric in America is going to get people killed, including cops. We've got to do something.